automatically recording. Okay. So let me open the chat. Okay, let's check already if everybody can hear us. Hello, can you say hi?
Hi there.
Sure no, nobody want to say hi?
Let me check. Where's the chat? Oh. Hi there.
Hello. So, okay. So apparently, yeah, hi are coming. So, okay.
Nice, nice, nice.
So you can
Welcome,
hear
everybody.
Okay. So should we start? As apparently everybody say hi and they can hear us. I will start by sharing the screen. Okay. Share. Okay. Oops. No, not this one. This one. Okay. Isaline, would you start? You are on mute.
Hey, so this is SEO Nerd Switzerland. In case you don't know us yet, SEO Nerd Switzerland is a non-profit association that Sarah and I founded about, can't remember now, must be
2 years ago.
Yeah, two years ago, a little more now. And so mainly the point is just, it's about sharing SEO knowledge and getting to know our guests and getting to know you. But mainly we want to make SEO knowledge really accessible. We do our best to record and share the presentations. You find them on our YouTube channels. And we also do our best to provide you transcripts of the presentations. And of course, if our guest speakers allow, you also receive the slides. So it's really about learning. And in case you have any questions, you can always ask us at the end of this webinar, or if the question comes later, just reach out on Twitter or just send us a mail, and we are happy to answer if we can, or transfer your question to our guest speaker.
Perfect. So
we have sponsors.
Go. I'll let you explain the sponsors.
we have sponsors. So Sarah and I, we work for free. It's a voluntary work, but we do have fees for the softwares. Obviously, this is Zoom and it's getting expensive. You might have noticed. And also for the transcripts. So one of these sponsors is Leap. It's a web development agency based in Switzerland. Our other sponsor is Work in SEO. It's a podcast and a job board, 100% dedicated to SEO. So if you don't know it yet, I'm going to share later the URLs so you can check it out. And we have season 2 of Work in SEO podcasts that I am currently producing. So it's going to be out in about 2-3 weeks, I think.
Super news for everybody, that one.
And this is our next meetup. It's in March. I can't remember the exact dates, but I'll check out as soon as I'm finished talking. We have Bushra Kildas, and it's really about making tech SEO like accessible and available to people who are specialized with content. So do come, and also invite your friends who are, for instance, copywriters, because there are lots of good things that you can learn from this talk. As well, Bushra is fantastic, so you should come for her anyway.
Okay, so now we will finally go to our talk of today. So let me introduce you a little bit, Monse, if I can. So she's like working in the domain since ever, I would say 2002. Correct me if it is correct, yes or no. So I would say ever, probably since it exists. She is bilingual, UK, yeah, UK, English, Spanish. Let me switch on the light. And there is so much to say about you. I mean, as you have so much experience. But so what I will do is then I will let you introduce yourself, probably, because I saw then there is a slide about you, and then like this you can also start your talk. Let me share again the screen. Up. Today will be me sharing, not this one, not this one. No, it's not going away. Just a second. Ah, yeah. Okay. So up. Okay. Do you want to start? Oh, yeah, sure. I started sharing the screen for you. Sorry.
Thank
Let
you
me
so
know
much.
when I have to pass to the next one.
Will do. Thanks a lot. Right. So first off, thank you very much to everybody who is here tonight after a long day at work, and thank you in advance to those who who watch the recording later. So I know that some of you may not be able to come tonight. Now, making everything flow is a major life goal, isn't it? It's something that we all want to have in our lives. We all want to have a nice life, no problems at work that may actually have a negative effect in our own lives. We need a way to help make everything flow. Next. However, how many times have we faced a project or even a task at work and thought to ourselves, oh my goodness, this is too daunting, this is too much for me, I'm not going to be able to do it. And indeed, every single project and task is very daunting, or can feel very daunting. Especially at the very beginning when there is little time to do it, or even if the ask is coming from way above yourselves. Someone in the executive board who has taken a personal interest in your SEO audit or in your digital integration project. SEO and digital marketing and marketing as a whole are very complex disciplines that are in constant development. We all need to make sense of the all, particularly so that we can achieve objectives, and also because our work is important for other colleagues who may be able to achieve their objectives if we actually achieve ours. So, next. A little bit about myself. I've been working in SEO in digital marketing for donkey's years, both as a consultant, as an employee. I've worked internationally and in roles, mostly in roles where project management was a key aspect of it. Next. So today I'm going to be talking about project management as a way to take away this uncertainty that a project or a task, particularly a new one, can actually have, and make you achieve your objectives. I am going to talk about what's a project, the skills needed, the benefits for SEO and digital marketing, and also about the benefits of project management per se. Next. A word of warning though, this is not like coding with Python or internal linking or CSS, etc. You should definitely go and watch all those presentations and read those blog posts, because they will make you advance in your career. You will make you grow as a professional. Project management is slightly different. It can be tough. It can be it can take time, especially at the very beginning and at the very end. But I promise you, it is all worth it. Next. And also some of you may be already applying these techniques. My job here tonight is to make you more aware of what's available and hopefully inspire you to use them to your own advantage to achieve your own objectives. Next. And remember always what's in it for you. You can deliver your projects or tasks more easily, achieve your objectives also more easily, get internal buy-in, raise your profile internally, which is so necessary for SEOs and digital marketers as well. You can advance in your career, and most of all, you can make your life easier. Next. But first things first, what's a project? Next. There are different associations that look after project management and project managers as a whole. The PMI define project management as delivering something of value to people. The APN goes a little further in their definition. They talk about not just delivering something useful and of value to people, but about objectives and about deliverables and about a finite time scale and budget. And these are very, very important concepts, as we will see during this presentation. Next. Every single project has a set of elements. Because indeed, delivering something of value to people is very ambiguous, isn't it? What is valuable to somebody might not be valuable to somebody else. Just think about your own day-to-day work. What it is valuable to your SEO director, it is not valuable to your content director. Think about that. And for this reason, the projects as a whole has a very strict definition. Not everything can be a project. The main project elements are resources, time, cost, and scope. Next. With those, we will achieve specific objectives, which is really, really important. And we will need to provide final deliverables. Everything has to be on the project documentation, which is part of one of the 5 phases of project management. The first one is not what most people think it is. Most people seem to think that planning is the first phase, and it is not. It is, and it's really, really important that you actually understand this. The first phase is conception and initiation. This is where we define projects. This is where we this is what we actually say that a project is actually a project, because there are situations where a project, we call projects to a set of tasks, but they are not even related, and they are not, we don't actually make them work towards a particular goal. They are just a set of tasks. During the initiation project, the project manager does feasibility testing, and there are different techniques for them, just to make sure that we actually understand that a project is actually a project. During this phase, we also do a project charter. A project charter is a graphic where you set up all the objectives and the purpose, requirements, business needs, etc., etc. So this is one of the most important phases. The second one is indeed definition and planning. This is where you set up a roadmap using SMART objectives or clear objectives, clear as in CLEAR. Clear objectives are similar to SMART in the sense that they try to achieve everything that SMART objectives do, but they take into account collaboration, which is a very important aspect in the workplace these days, as you know. During this phase, we define the roles of and responsibilities of the team. And we make, as a project manager, we make communication plans, risk assessment plans, risk management plans, etc., etc. The third one is execution. This is the fun part, actually. This is where you do a task allocation, procurement, team development, etc., etc. And most importantly, this is the aspect where you modify the project plan if needed. So say you've got a big project to enhance the visibility of your organization, the online visibility, and you set up 3 different options, 3 different aspects of it. One of them is looking into the CRM, another one is looking into the website, and another one is looking into the social media, for example. There might be during a time during the execution time when you realize that doing some of these things is not worth it, because it's not going to make you achieve your objectives in time and to budget. And then this is where you change the direction as needed. Or indeed, something might have happened. Something might have happened in the organization, something which is beyond your own control, and you need to take that into account. The 4th phase is performance and monitoring. This is something that you actually do throughout the whole process, but after some time, you check whether there is a possibility that you need to apply certain metrics that you haven't thought about before. Some of these metrics might be budgets, for example, whether you are delivering the project on time and budget. Another one, effort and cost tracking, or the actual project performance, which takes into account any changes that you have needed to make before. The final phase is one of the most important phases. This is the quality management phase of the project. This is where you decide that the project has come to an end. This is where you decide whether in your website audit, you are going to be auditing the blog area, say, which is perhaps a lot more complex than it looks like. And maybe it's not that worthwhile going into it at this moment in time for the purpose of your project, for whatever reason. Also, at the very end, the project manager needs to hold a meeting where they debrief all the stakeholders and set up the next steps, whether you actually go and do the audit of the blog to review that area and to redo it, and also prepare a project report, which is a very important admin task. So again, could you go back again? So again, the first phase is the initiation project, where you see whether the project is an actual project. Then you define and plan the project. You decide what you need to do, what's involved, and a roadmap. Then you execute it. Then you monitor its performance. And then you finally produce, you do the quality management of the whole project. Next. What implies to manage your projects? As you have probably noticed, it implies a lot more than it looks like. It implies knowing why a project is necessary, who or what needs to be involved. it involves setting up a timeline, deciding about costs, doing continuous monitoring, and also admin tasks, such as report writing. Next. But now, what does a good project look like? A good project is a project where all the benefits that have been identified are actual benefits. And this is very important, because sometimes we think about a particular benefit, something which is good for the company, but maybe it's not an actual benefit because there are other variables to take into account. So a good project takes into account the benefits identified, benefits that are something positive for the future of the organization. A good project also has had enough support from the above and has invested in resources, has had resources invested in things like, for example, staff development, equipment, things like that. A good project is the actual opposite to it. No benefits involved or being identified or catered for. The future of the organization has not even been taken into account. There hasn't been enough resources, not enough investment on staff or equipment. And sometimes what happens is that a project can be done too quickly. And if it is too quick, then maybe it's not properly done, because a project does not take 2 days. It takes a bit more than that. These quick projects tend to be, in my experience, based on previous projects that other people have performed, and they have been successful according to the different metrics that may have been applied at that moment in time. But there are different circumstances, and so sometimes it's not a good idea to compare two different circumstances or projects together. Not a good idea at all. Next. A project manager has a very defined set of tasks. They need to perform a feasibility test, which sometimes is nothing more than common sense, really. They need to define the project, manage timelines and costs, redirect the project or manage the direction in which the project is going, manage diagrams, produce closure reports, produce manage team, for example, etc., etc. So all these tasks. Next. But hey, not all projects are the same. Not at all. Some of the projects, how can I say this? A lot of the times, everything that I have spoken about so far needs to be adapted to your own circumstance, because it's not the same working in a big enterprise such as Vodafone as working in a more national scale organization, such as an NGO, for example, a charity, etc., etc. The projects that you undertake in both circumstances are necessarily different, and you have to be able to adapt to those circumstances. However, what project management is definitely not is account management. An account manager is solely concerned with making the client happy. That's all it is. Whereas a project manager actually does the job. That's the project. Next one. project management is not the use of Gantt charts or indeed any other type of charts at all, although this is a very important aspect of project management, particularly in those projects where you need, or a project manager needs to prove the value of it at all times. And in those circumstances, charts can be very, very important. And I'm not talking about decision charts. I am talking about specific charts specific to different aspects of projects or different phases of the project. It can be Gantt charts. It can be anything that you might consider useful. But also remember that there are many authors that cite that persuasion, in case you need to persuade stakeholders, 85% of persuasion is being done in an emotional way. Es decir, so when you try to persuade someone, you need to be able to produce something that kind of gets to them somehow, because most decisions are not even made using rational aspects, not even in B2B. And this is something very important for you to understand. And if you use visuals, you will help with all this. Next one. So, for example, a very interesting and very useful diagram is a project dashboard. This is something that I have created with Lucidchart, and this is where a big project has where 3 areas have been identified, and 3 different people are actually doing those areas, doing the work in those areas. Each of them have different tasks, and you can see in a very visual way at a glance how the project is going on, which can be very powerful for your stakeholders. Next one. The project management has a huge amount of benefits for SEO and digital marketing. In fact, project management is inherent to SEO because of its many moving parts, as you probably know. Next one, yeah. And so the first one is greater efficiency and productivity. The second one is, well, being able to influence the direction of a project, just so you don't actually do the job or all the work without knowing that you are going to be using it, you know. Another benefit is to do with collaboration. We keep saying that SEO and digital marketing cannot work in isolation, and it's very important that you actually talk to other specialisms within the organization, just to be able to perform your job properly. When there are projects, normally these projects are multidisciplinary, so there are different people within from different specialisms or different departments within the same company, which makes up for a very interesting mix where you can learn as well. You can also avoid any issues and uncertainties around execution, who does the task, what's expected, timelines, costs, etc., because sometimes a good idea is not perceived as a good idea unless it has been executed correctly. And that is something that you learn with practice. You need to execute well something so that it has some value to people. And then, of course, the main benefit is that you achieve satisfaction, a huge amount of satisfaction when everything is done. Next. The skills needed for project management are not really for project managers only, but project managers do need to have superb organizational and communication skills. They need to be very good at timekeeping. they need to be super resilient. This is something that everybody needs to grow, but project managers do have to be really resilient because they get a lot of pushback. It's as simple as that. They get a lot of pushback from everywhere. Something else which is very useful for project managers to the ability to vet ideas, particularly during execution time and at the very beginning as well. You need to understand what is a good idea that is going to make you achieve your own objectives in time and to budget, and what is not going to be helping you at all. Debriefing is a lot more complicated than it looks like, in my own experience, particularly when the project is particularly complicated. Strategic thinking is to do with the project direction and so what else needs to be done maybe later. And again, making charts and diagrams, being very visual. Next. Where can I use these skills? I would say everywhere, at enterprise level, smaller companies, your own project, your own daily life. Obviously, you're not going to be doing feasibility testing or project documentation in your daily life, but obviously, if you adapt some of these techniques to the different projects, you will be able to achieve your objectives and everything else that we have talked about. Because, next. Because we live in the project economy, so just like the PMI says, project management is a very important skill and experience to have under your belts, particularly for career development, because no matter where you are working, you might actually move on to another vertical, another industry sector, another company. You can transfer all those skills. Next one. What I particularly enjoy of project management is basically getting things done, because too many moving parts, anything can happen. But if you work in a more or less structured environment, things are a lot less uncertain and you can get things done. Like I said before, you can use your skill sets elsewhere. You can even introduce new things, new ways of thinking, new tools, and you get to know different business areas. You don't work in isolation, which is so important for marketers and SEO in particular. And very importantly, it can raise your profile internally, and I can assess that. I can definitely tell you that happens. Next one. In tough moments in time, you always need to remember what it is for you about delivering your projects, achieving your objectives, getting internal buy-in, and generally making your life a lot easier. Next one. These are some resources for you, which you can have too. The associations I was talking about, the Project Management Institute and the Association for Project Management. Charts, there's plenty of companies out there, Canva, IBM for Enterprise, etc. But these are some of the ones that I am familiar with. And thank you very much for listening to me. Can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah, I was on mute, so I was speaking alone. I was feeling very comfortable in speaking alone. First of all, thank you so much. It was super cool. I can see somebody saying, I love the distinction between project manager and account manager. Yeah, it was fun also for me. It made me smile, that slide. I don't know if people have questions. At the beginning, we just started, and then we didn't explain how you should do it, and I'm sorry about that because it was me that did have to explain it. So there is the Q&A. So or you put your question in the chat, or you put your question in the Q&A, and then Monse will answer the questions. I will go back to see if somebody has question. I don't know if Isalina has
one.
You have done. Okay.
So what's your tips for a successful phase 2, which is definition and planning? How to do this phase 2 well?
It can be a tough one, actually. For the first, getting the first phase right is actually something very valuable. You need to know what a project is and whether that is in reality a project. But something which I find really important at all times is getting people on your side, getting allies, somebody who's going to support you, somebody who's going to believe in your project. I think that is important. And a third tip for me is perhaps sticking to the business case and sticking to your own objectives, because there are so many things that you can do. It's just amazing sometimes how many things you can actually do and that are going to be valuable. But you need to always bear in mind the business case, the business needs.
So
right,
I also have a question at this point. As Isalina asked, I will ask too. So for me, it's about the resources. For me, the resources are always a pain, no? So there is a trick. So I know, so in the companies, normally you always have a sponsor, no? Somebody then support your project, and then you have to always look for that kind of person. But pushing for having more resources is always super difficult. Whatever it is, developers, whatever it is, money, whatever, resources are always a pain. Do you have a tips that help you to push these resources?
Oh my God, that is actually difficult too. I think your allies can help you out with that. Somebody who actually believes in your project. The sponsor. Yeah.
I call them the sponsor.
I think they will be able to help you. But also what helps them is to see very visually what you're talking about. So if you break down every single aspect that you need to do and you need to achieve, and what you need for every single aspect or every single of those aspects, will help them understand why you need a developer, an SEO, a front end, a CRM person, etc., etc.
Perfect.
Content.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. Do you have somebody has questions, or everything was clear? I think then it was very clear presentation. So I do not think, so there is a question coming up. That makes me smile. Okay, procrastination is the enemy of phase 1 and 2 of the project. Have you experienced the same? This is Brenda. Fantastic question, Brenda.
All the time. All the time. Distractions are coming from everywhere. You can definitely stop them if you turn the mobile on off, sorry, etc., etc. Sometimes even working from home can be distracting, because people coming into your room unexpectedly, or just like the other day, I was in a big business meeting, and the neighbor next door decided to do some work on your place, and there was some very big noise, and just it's really difficult. Distractions are coming from everywhere. No real tips apart from turning the mobile off.
So you know, I had a boss which was, but a lovely boss, but and one day he told me, Sarah, you are procrastinating. And I was like, yes, but I mean, it's okay to procrastinate if I arrive to my goals. No? And then it was like, you know what? I have a suggestion for you. Why you don't keep a timekeeper? Seriously. So a tracker online, it was just for me. And then in that sense, I could know exactly all the time on which website I was, which activity I was doing, what I was doing. At the end of the day, you had a clear vision if you were procrastinating, yes or no, and how much you were procrastinating.
You definitely need to have to-do lists. And I think time management in a project actually helps you out with the procrastination bit, because you really need to deliver in time and to budget. So particularly in time, because sometimes budget depends on time as well. So if they see that you're procrastinating and you're wasting time, or you are perceived to be doing that, you may not get any more budget or any more resources. So that helps you out very well with all that. Once on phase 2, you define the project, you define the roadmap, a flexible roadmap with very clear objectives or smart objectives, and think about it. But also remember something that I didn't say in the presentation, and I think is important, is that because you need to adapt to every single circumstance, sometimes some of these phases can be smaller or shorter than others. You need to take that into account.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
I have to explain productive procrastination. I think you're going to love this. Productive procrastination is when you have a task to do and you don't want to do it, so you do every other tasks that you've been procrastinating before. So it could be anything about cleaning and whatever, or even like invoicing, administrative tasks. So you're like, oh, I'm being productive, but actually you're just avoiding another more procrastinated task. And I think this is my number one enemy, is like I'm being productive, right? And in fact, I'm just not helping the project. I'm doing other things I like a little less, but
I've never heard of that before. That's an interesting task, but I don't know. But I guess sometimes we do that. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about any SEO task is a lot more interesting than budgeting, for example. And I know it's very dangerous of me saying that after all I have spoken about, but I think budgeting can be really, really difficult and really boring as compared to, I don't know, doing an audit or even writing metadata.
Seriously, it's like writing metadata. Okay. I will keep that in mind. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so we discover what is the productive procrastination today, which I think that everybody does it, by the way. When you don't want to face a task, you do something else. By the way, I know when Iselin is doing that because normally she's working very hard on SEO Nerd in that time. So I catch her in that case. Yeah, to-do list. Yes, sure, they're super important. The to-do list, I can relate to that. Everybody can relate to that. Okay, so I don't know. Anybody has still questions? If you have question, go. Is the right time to ask. She's here. If really something come in your mind later on, she's on Twitter. I don't know, did we share the Twitter handle or not?
Yeah, I did in my slides, but I can put it on the chat.
Yeah, I put it on the chat directly. It's for everyone. So if ever you have some question, you can still connect to her later on. But yes, yeah, we still have one question. Yeah, so any tools then you would suggest, like ClickUp? I don't know ClickUp, but yes, any tools, project manager tools or something then you would suggest.
To make diagrams, I think the main, let me see, ClickUp. I haven't used this ClickUp tool. I have heard of it, but I haven't used it.
What's the goal, Brenda? It's for graph, or it's like just like project manager? So for example, to keep task, to keep the order. Yeah, project manager tools, yeah.
Well, I have used Asana, and I think that is a very useful one. There are many tools available there, but the most important thing is that you have very clear in your mind what you are doing, the timeline, the costs, the resources, and everything else. And sometimes just a graph that you hold on a computer, you have on a computer, is a lot more useful than some of these tasks. Slack used to be very useful at the very beginning, until I realized that it can be so very distracting. I just don't know if you have experienced the same. I have used Slack as well, and Trello. People have recommended me Monday as well.
So there I see other tools coming up like Asana, Jira. These are anyway normally corporate tools and are quite expensive. So then it depends on which scale you are working and for who you're working. So maybe Trello is probably more for if you are not if you're working for a small company or your personal project. Jira, Asana is more money oriented. So is your company paying for that because they cost a bomb?
But also it really depends on what kind of project you are using, you're managing, because Jira was made for developers, by developers. So it's very useful for us to communicate with developers because they are used to it. The logic that they are using in this tool is such that they can understand it. But maybe for content marketers, that is not that useful at all. Maybe something like Trello or Asana might be more suitable for that.
Okay. Yes. You use Miro. Iselin, you use Miro. Miro.
I haven't used that one.
Yeah, basically Miro is like having your own wall at home, except that it's not a wall, but then you can do the same about drawing using colors, but they are like less functionality than Trello, for instance.
Okay.
But I just like the drawing possibilities and the colors. And I think if it's just you, that's enough. And you have 3 boards for free. So yeah, Miro is a live sticker. Exactly. Miro is like, hey, color everywhere. And then you're happy.
Maybe it depends also. It depends also in the phase then you are. So in some phase, probably you can use it, in other phase you can't. But yes, I think if nobody, if people don't know Miro, you can also try it. I mean, it's fun, it's color, and it's a live stickers as they say. So you can stick stuff around and move them to know where you are. So yes.
Okay. I make a note of that. Thank you very much. I didn't know. You never know. There are so many tools out there.
Tons of tools. Yes, exactly. There are tons of tools out there.
Yeah, I've read somewhere that there's no less than 138 tools for project management. And I think it's just picking up the one that is going to be more useful to you. Because if you're a consultant, a solo consultant, and you're using a tool to manage your own projects, you're not going to be using Jira, particularly because you don't need to communicate with anybody sometimes, or maybe you do, maybe with one client. If you are communicating with one client, maybe just Slack, or I don't know. It's just a matter of finding the right tool. It's like when you are working in a company and you are doing digital integration, you just don't look after marketing, you look after the marketing stack as well. So you need to think about the product that you're going to be using, what you're going to be using, the amount of people who need to have access, etc., etc. So you do the same assessment for yourself and for your own project. But I can tell you that a lot of the times you need to use whatever the client uses.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. You need to adapt, no? Yes, exactly.
Another way to learn as well. new thing.
Okay. Anybody has still some question coming up? Some last moment burning question? No? Yes? No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, no. Okay, so thank you so much. So as you saw, once I add I saw it before, it disappeared. No, is the handle, handle, Twitter handle, where it is?
Yeah.
I saw it before.
Yes,
yeah,
it's,
here.
it's up.
Yeah.
It's up. Okay, so I will post it again. If you have last moment question after the webinar, you can always contact her. And yes, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. You're always fantastic. I mean, I hope then one day we will do it live again and see you all. Maybe Zarina and I will organize a conference. Never know. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thanks a
everybody.
lot. Have a good
Ciao.
night, everyone.
Ciao, ciao. Good
You
night.
too.
Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.